Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cognito Key. Today, we're going to talk about something, well, something really old. We're looking at these tiny microscopic powerhouses that literally built the world we live in today. Yep, we're diving deep into the amazing story of cyanobacteria.
I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. The very air you're breathing right now, what if I told you it was created by some of the smallest, most ancient life forms on Earth? It sounds like something out of a movie, right? But it's not. It's the absolutely true, incredible story of cyanobacteria.
All right, so to really get how important these little guys are, we have to go back in time. And I mean way back, to a time when Earth was a totally different, almost alien planet.
3.5 billion years. It's hard to even wrap your head around a number that big, right? But that's how far back the fossil record takes us for cyanobacteria. They are, without a doubt, one of the most ancient forms of life we've ever found.
So, you might be asking, how on earth do we know they're that old? Well, we have these amazing things called stromatolites to thank. Picture them like fossilized condos, maybe? They're these layered, rocky structures built up over millions and millions of years by colonies of cyanobacteria. They are the literal physical footprints these tiny organisms left behind for us to find.
And this is their claim to fame. This is the big one. Before cyanobacteria showed up, there was practically zero oxygen in Earth's atmosphere. Then these little microbes started doing their thing, photosynthesis, and began pumping out oxygen, just pumping it out. And that single act completely changed our planet. It set the stage for all the complex life that followed. Yeah, including you and me.
Okay, so we know they're ancient, and we know they changed the world. But what are cyanobacteria really? Let's meet the organism properly. Well, at their heart, they're a type of bacteria. But they have this really cool trick up their sleeve. They can perform photosynthesis, just like a plant. They soak up sunlight, use it to make energy, and yep, you guessed it, they release oxygen.
Now, this is where things got a little confusing for scientists for a while. On one hand, cyanobacteria are bacteria. They have a simple cell structure, they're prokaryotic, which just means no nucleus. But on the other hand, they act like algae, which are more complex. So what's the deal? Well, unlike algae, they don't have those neat little packages called chloroplasts to do their photosynthesis. Instead, all that chlorophyll is just floating around inside the cell. It's this unique mix that really makes them stand out. And all that confusion actually leads us to a really common nickname you might have heard. Ever heard of blue-green algae? If you have, you are actually hearing about cyanobacteria. So why that name?
It's pretty simple, actually. It all comes down to the pigments they use. They've got chlorophyll A, that gives them their green color, just like in plants. But they also have another pigment called phycocyanin, and that one's blue. You mix that green and blue together, and voila, you get that signature blue-green color.
But wait, there's more. Making the air we breathe wasn't their only superpower. Nope, these tiny titans have another amazing trick up their sleeve, one that's just as crucial for life on this planet.
We're talking about fixing nitrogen. Now that might not sound as dramatic as making oxygen, but trust me, it's a huge deal. It's fundamental for growth, for life itself, and most other living things just can't do it.
And the secret to this superpower lies in a special little structure called a heterocyst. It's a modified cell that some cyanobacteria have, and you can think of it as its own tiny self-contained factory.
So what does this little factory do? It's amazing, really. First, it seals itself off completely to get rid of all the oxygen inside. Then it grabs nitrogen gas, the stuff that makes up most of our air but is totally useless to most plants, and pulls it in. And then the magic happens. It converts that useless nitrogen into ammonia, which is basically a super effective natural fertilizer. It's a process that is absolutely essential for making soil fertile and keeping ecosystems going.
So let's recap. They're ancient, they make oxygen, and they fertilize the planet. Pretty impressive resume, right? But what about right now in our modern world? Well, our relationship with them today is a little more complicated. They're a bit of a double-edged sword. First, the good stuff. And there's a lot of it. They're still improving soil fertility and helping stop erosion. You've probably heard of spirulina, right? That's a cyanobacteria, and it's a fantastic source of protein. We also use them to make antibiotics, and they can even act as little alarms, letting us know when water is polluted. But there's also a not-so-good side. You know when you see those thick, green scums on ponds or lakes? That's a water bloom.
It happens when there are too many nutrients in the water, usually from pollution, and the cyanobacteria just go wild. These blooms suck all the oxygen out of the water, which is terrible for fish and other creatures. Plus, they can produce this slimy gunk that, well, let's just say it really stinks.
So, yeah, friend and foe. But one thing is absolutely clear: their impact on our planet is just massive. They are fundamental to everything: our past, our present, and definitely our future. It really is an incredible thing to think about. For billions of years, these tiny, invisible engines have just been humming along in the background, quietly running our planet, building our atmosphere, making our soil fertile. They are the foundation of it all.
You see, their legacy isn't just locked away in some old fossils. It's right here, right now. It's in the very air you're breathing, it's in the food that grows from the soil, it's in the fabric of every ecosystem on Earth.
And that really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If one type of microscopic organism could have such a world-changing impact, what other invisible forces are out there, right now, shaping our world in ways we don't even know about yet?
Thank you so much for joining us today here on Cognito Key. It's just such a powerful reminder, isn't it, that sometimes the very smallest things can make the biggest difference of all.
Hey, if you enjoyed this explainer and learned something new, we'd really appreciate it if you could hit that like button, share it with a friend, and of course, subscribe to Cognito Key. We've got so many more stories like this to share. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.